Good. Hello and welcome to Rank Class. Today we're going to talk about something that's been in the news recently. We're going to talk a bit about the GameStop and the stock market. And today I'm not alone in this cast. I have invited a friend of mine, Carl, to join me in this podcast. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to talk a bit about it. But before we dive into it, I'm going to take a look at the stock market. The stock market has a massive power over our life. Um, so massive that when it cracked back before the start of World War II, it actually led the way for some people to gain power and to start World War II more or less. And that is the power it has. It has the power to change the world economy in a single snap with the fingers. So it's an important subject to talk about at any point because it has this power. But now we have been shown the power of it by normal people. And that is the part we will try and talk about today. So, the stock market is a weird place. It's a place that is made by rich people to often get themselves richer. And right now, it seems like they are trying to regulate themselves with their own laws and their own ways. So I don't think that's okay. What about you, Carl?
Well, it's obviously not okay. The thing that's going on right now is that most people already had the idea that the rich people were just in the stock market to get more rich, to get more money, to get more wealth. And with the new technological age, I should say, coming in, it's become more accessible for the normal person to start trading in stocks and to basically join in with a little bit of funds, with a small amount of money. Um, so there isn't really a problem with that, to be honest, apart from what we've been seeing lately. Because the stock market is, well, if anyone asks, it's obviously regulated. You have rules. You can do some things, you can't do other things. You cannot, for example, make a deal as a company with other companies that'll influence your stock or their stock or any stock for that matter significantly. Um, that's the official bit. The unofficial bit is that no matter what, that always did happen. Um, there were always backroom talks going on about, well, what are we going to do? It's fairly normal, and
Yeah,
the hedge funds, the bigger companies that work with these stocks, they of course um, they use this information because, well, they want to make money. They need to make money. Their whole company is based on making money. So that's
the
um,
insider trade thingy where
yeah,
they,
that's exactly the
yeah,
word I was looking for. There's just a big insider group, and what happened here is something happened that nobody expected. Well,
yeah,
I don't think I have to give like a small summary of what's been going on because pretty much every newspaper or TV show has been doing that. But yeah,
yeah. We normal people got news, inside information about the GameStop that they were trying to bet on it to fail, and then they made it not fail.
yeah, and in this case, the inside information wasn't even that the hedge funds betted on GameStop to fail. I'm not sure how public that information is, to be honest, but the parts that you could um, compare to insiders' information is the fact that on Reddit they had a forum that basically said like, "Hey, we're going to do this. Anyone who wants to can join in." And the amount of people who wanted to join in were so big, so high that the stock actually skyrocketed because the stock market is a supply and demand thing. There's a certain supply of stocks, and the more people who want to buy those stocks, the higher the price will be.
Yeah.
And well, all the hedge funds basically made this bet that, oh, well, GameStop is going bankrupt anyway, so we're going to think that their stocks are going to be worth less, which means that we make more money in the process that is called shorting. That bet
Yes.
just well, it screwed them over basically because there were too many people who said like, oh, no, we're gonna make sure the price goes up, and you're stuck in that bet, and that means you will have to pay a lot of money.
Yeah. Often people that don't know how it works is that some of the hedge funds borrowed shares from another person, and then they sold the shares when the share price was at that time the highest, and then they waited for the shares to drop again so they could buy them back and give them back to the person they bought it from. But because of the price rising with over 800% or something like that, the price they had to pay to buy the shares back and get back to the people who borrowed from, it cost them millions and billions of dollars.
Yep, insane amounts that even with their pretty big portfolios of stocks and money and whatnot, they could not afford. So I believe at this point, five big hedge funds collapsed, if I'm
Yeah,
correct. I could be wrong. I'm not really up to date with the information, I must say.
yeah, we get new information every
Yeah.
day. But the thing is that right now is the biggest annoyance is people like Robinhood, the people who have apps where you can trade in, actually stopped allowing trade for this stock market and removed it from their choices and began selling on behalf of people without getting their okay with it. And that sort of regulation needs to be taken away from the market, so to say. They should not be allowed to do that. And a court case has actually been risen in US about this. But what do you think we could do as ordinary people to do something about the rules that are at Wall Street? Who should make the rules and define the rules? Or should there be any rules at all?
Uh, I'll be honest, that's a really tough question. Um, I am no
I
expert.
know,
I didn't say this before. I do feel like I should mention this in this podcast. I'm no expert on economy or anything. I'm just a lab technician. I have quite a lot of knowledge in biology. I am no expert in the economy or anything. Um, but yeah, for rules for these sort of situations, well, to start with, I don't think that we as the common people don't really have much of a say in this. It's um, it's a big group of bankers or brokers, whatever you want to call it. It's just a more general term for people with money, and they get to decide what goes and what doesn't go. And I am actually not sure who else could influence this. But
I know.
if you want to make this a more fair process, then by all means you should not be able to stop these kinds of things because this
Yeah, it
is
should be a completely free market, right?
exactly this is the way the system works. It's not like they hacked the system. They just used the rules that were there in order to kind of pull this off. Um,
Yeah,
and the fact that Robinhood closed their trading options. Personally, I am not against that. Um, because, well, it's still a sort of a separate platform and they can decide on their platform what they do or don't do, what they trade or don't trade. On the other hand, as you said before, they actively sold their stocks, or at least the stocks of the people who bought stocks in GameStop, not stock. And that's something that should not be allowed at all. Even if you're saying, hey, we're not going to trade in this anymore because of reasons, you cannot sell something that isn't yours at that point. And
Yeah, that's called stealing.
in a way, yes, that might actually be one of the best ways to describe it because I'm not sure how much one stock of GameStop is worth at this moment, but I recall it hitting the 360, and apparently Robinhood force sold stocks at, well, significantly less.
Yeah, because they had to cover some of the minus they had.
Yeah,
So yeah, that is why there's a court case against them.
yes, and I
But
agree. And stealing might be the
yeah,
best choice of words here, but also, um, I mean, for hedge funds, it's their work. They have a different point of view of why they're doing it, and probably for a lot of people from Reddit, they have their own point of view on why they're doing this, just for the lols or because they have money to spare. But there's also a group of people who don't have this money to spare, and they're just stealing from people uh, who really should not be stolen from. It's a bit weird to say, but I'm actually at a lack of words um, for this.
yeah, it's okay. Um, but you have traded a bit in Bitcoin,
Yes.
and is there something from the Bitcoin market that could be a good idea to use in the stock market?
Um, I do think so. Like, for starters, if you're trading a bit in Bitcoin, I'm not saying I made millions or thousands. Hell, I did not even make hundreds in trading in Bitcoin. I've just been dabbling around for fun. Um, but the whole premise, the whole situation of your screen with a stock broker thing going on, it's basically the same as with stocks. Um, the interface generally works the same, it looks the same, it's just the thing that you're trading, it's a bit different. And with a bit, I should say it's significantly different. Stocks are regulated. There's Wall Street,
Yeah, out
and
of
yeah, there's
they're regulated from company size and wealth and income, and Bitcoin has its value because of us, the people who are buying it and giving it a value.
yes and no. Because for starters, you're talking about the value. I was trying to convey that the regulation on whether or not you can trade in this currency or stock or whatever is regulated. And
Okay.
well, as you saw with Robinhood and many others, apparently Wall Street has the power to shut it down. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's a lot harder because Bitcoin is something that exists pretty much everywhere and nowhere. There's no regulated side on it. And in that
Yeah. So,
perspective, it could be that the trading site you're on says, "Hey, we're shutting down Bitcoin." That's okay. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin stopped working. Whereas in the case of stock markets, the stocks just stop flowing. Bitcoin will still be around. And in that perspective, it's not regulated. You could still use your Bitcoin to buy for a pizza or anything, as an example, even though the stock sites, the trading sites said, hey, we're not trading in this anymore at this point. So it doesn't become completely useless. And the stock
yeah.
market should work in the same manner, if you ask me.
Yeah, because we have seen when the stock market goes down, it takes everything down with it because everything loses its value. And it has happened a lot of times, and it will happen again with the current way we are going. So it could be a good idea to make sure that um, we can free trade and that if something goes down, that we still have a base value or something.
Yes, that would be nice, but you have to realize that the stock market, what's going on the stock market, and the stock market going down, um, it's not directly influencing the other issues we have with our money at this point. The reason why everything is going up, the stock market, the cryptos are soaring high, gold price, silver price, you name it, is soaring high. Um, and according to me, the main reason why that is happening is because our actual money is starting to become more and more worthless. So everybody who has a large sum of money is trying to find a safe haven for it. Because,
Yeah, convert
yes,
them.
because your $1,000 might not be worth the same in a year. But let's say you put your $1,000 in a gold coin, and then all of a sudden next year you actually get your worth, which might be $1,500. And
Yeah, it's always gold and other objects have a steady price that's basically always the same. So yeah,
yeah,
that makes
and
sense.
just to put
Um,
this in perspective, because I was talking about gold and your $1,000, it in normal everyday life it would mean that right today you buy a bread for $1. But in a year, that same loaf of bread will cost you $1.50. And in that year, you
yeah,
did not
inflation and
start to
stuff.
earn 50% more. So it technically means that your money became worth less, even though you still had the same amount. And that's why people are trying to escape the standard currencies.
Yeah, it is a big
Yeah.
subject because a lot can happen that influences it. And I'm just happy that I am not living currently in Venezuela, where money is less worth than uh, currency in the game World of Warcraft. Um, and that's just crazy that a country's value can get that low, that currency in a video game will become more valuable. So I understand why people want to convert their money into something that is more steady. And also, I know some countries have their national banks have a negative rent. So that means that the money that you have in the bank actually is costing the bank money to have them there. So they will also try to convert it.
Yes, exactly. And as far as I can tell, if we keep going like this, um, we're going to have a major issue.
Yeah, yeah. At some point, it's all gonna crack,
Yeah.
and then it's who knows how well we'll do it. Um, that only time will tell, more or less. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Now to a bit more uh, funny side. Um, there has been a lot of. I feel like this game shop thingy has been made into the people versus Wall Street thingy because of all the memes and the jokes going around. And some of them are quite funny and hilarious and opens the eye to this idea that if Wall Street does it, it's okay. But as soon as Wall Street loses money on it because of normal people, then they begin to cry and goes, "We want this to stop. We want to be able to stop this." Um, and that is actually pretty funny. Um, but we also have to remember that there are actually people um, who have now killed themselves because of it. And it is never funny to joke about suicide. Um, but yeah, but I think it's a very big subject, and I know you have a YouTube video that you actually like to recommend for people to give them an idea of
Ah,
how economy is working,
yes,
so
yes.
to speak.
Well, in order for you to realize how the whole economy works, well, you can start at the age of 10 and still not be done at the age of 100. Like, That's so much information, and it's it might actually be a bit too much. It's good to be informed, but don't overdo it. But I do believe that everybody should have a basic sense of what's going on. And I don't mean you're having a job, you have your income, you know what you're spending, and you know your economy. No, I mean, where does your money come from? Your actual money, not your income, but just the money. And a friend of mine who is also not an expert, but way more informed than I am on this subject, he once showed me a video. It's called "The Biggest Scam in the History of Mankind," and then "The Hidden Secrets of Money," episode 4. And in this video, there's this guy who starts explaining how banks get their money, because banks, they cannot print the money. It's the government who makes the money, but the government cannot give you the money. Banks need to give the money. And well, there's some weird stuff going on in there, and it is my belief that pretty much everyone should know how that works, because it gives you a sense of realization of basically how much you get screwed over with this, and you can use this information to, um, well, not per se to defend yourself, but to be wary of many things. So that's why I would like to say that pretty much everyone should see this video.
Okay, what is it called?
Yeah,
How do you find it?
apologies. During this talk, I actually already said it, but I imagine that it got a bit clouded in between everything else. The video can be found on YouTube, and it's called "The Biggest Scam in the History of Mankind," and then "The Hidden Secrets of Money." And there are a couple of episodes in there, but I'm specifically talking about episode 4.
Okay. Well, I will I will say to people that they need to look this up because it actually looks amazing, and he's doing a good job telling in the video about the economy and stuff. Um, do you have any final words on all of this weird things that is going on with the stock market and GameStop and overall something you would close with?
Overall, um, there are weird times. Um, just try to stay calm. The thing I felt that I was thinking a lot during these times is, oh, damn it, I'm missing the boat on something. I could have been rich if I did this. I could have been rich if I did that. Don't start thinking about all those things. It's still actually a ginormous gamble. You can lose a lot of money. And in the end, you should mostly just look at what you have and what you need. So I'll use myself for an example. I have a job, I have an income, it's steady. I'm very lucky in that way. And in my life, I actually don't need much more. I would like a bit more financial freedom, but I don't need it. And it's not worth the stress to dive into all these subjects and start reading on, oh, how can I make money on GameStop stocks or anything. It's just not worth it. So all in all, in
Yeah,
this
it's
chaos, just stay calm and keep going.
that's actually solid advice because it takes a lot of knowledge and know-how to actually begin to make money on different sides. But we all want to be rich and fast, but it's not worth going there because just be happy with what you have.
Yes, you can try to become rich fast, but it's definitely no guarantee for happiness.
Nope. Well, I will say thanks to you, Cal, for joining me today,
Yeah, no
and thank you
problem.
for everyone to joining in on this episode of Rank Class. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.